What are the things to pay attention to for the 2026 NFL Draft on the offensive side of the football? What's going on, people? Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hope things are going well. I believe the Seahawks do practice today. I don't know how much we're going to learn from that practice, but whatever we do learn, I'll make a video about it later. Until we get there, though, until we get to that point, I want to take a video, and this will be a couple videos because tomorrow's video or a very near future video will also be covering this same topic. But I wanted to get started early, and not that it's even really that early now. We are a week, slightly more than a week away from college football starting. And I think now is probably about the right time to start feeling out this upcoming NFL draft. Not because the Seahawks are looking at a really bad season where we need to be thinking about the draft because the upcoming season is not interesting. No, not at all. But because we want to put ourselves in a position to understand as much as possible before we actually get to the college season, so that when we get through the season, we have a good feel for what is going on. This video is going to be very high level. This video is going to be very bird's eye view. I'm not going to get too deep into anything. I'm not going to get too far into what makes these prospects interesting yet. Because quite frankly, in many of these cases, we don't know yet, because this 2025 college football season is going to tell us what we need to know about these players. We haven't seen them play at their best yet, so how can we really say that much about them? But let's talk a little bit about this upcoming draft class, and we're going to do it by looking at my favorite tool, the Consensus Big Board. I will admit, the Consensus Big Board right now is going to be a little all over the place because we don't have as much data as we usually do. Once the season starts, once we start getting some more information, once we start getting a lot of big boards and official, professional, big-time big boards getting pumped in, it'll clear up. Right now, there could be some stuff that just doesn't work, that doesn't make any sense. And obviously, I could probably find a few things here on this list that are just completely untethered from reality. Nevertheless, let's take a look at what they have right now, understanding that this is still probably the best that we can do. This is still probably the best resource. First, though, please like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. We're doing the offense here, and I think most positions are on the table for the Seahawks. I think that most positions offensively could be drafted as early as the first round. And I will say quarterback becomes a lot less likely if the team is good. If the Seahawks this year are good, they make the playoffs. Even if they don't win a playoff game, the odds of taking a quarterback go down. But if this team falls on their face, I don't think they're so married to Jalen Milroe that they would pass up on the opportunity to get a truly blue chip quarterback. And this, I think, is a very good quarterback class. I think this quarterback class has a chance to be not as good as 2024 with Caleb and May and Jaden Daniels, but it's going to be way better than last year with Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders and Jackson Dart, Will Howard. Like, that was a really bad class. It could end up being pretty comparable with a quarterback class like, what was it? Not 2022, 2021. That one ended up being, I mean, 2021 was a tricky one, right? 2021 was tricky. I don't know. I think this quarterback class, I wouldn't compare it to the best quarterback classes of all time, like 2 years ago, but got a real chance to produce some winners, which I don't mean to recycle this old talking point, but this was a big reason why I didn't want to take a quarterback this year. because the quarterbacks next year, I think, are going to be way more appealing. Remember, this list does not include Arch Manning because he is not expected to declare for the draft. However, he can. And if he wins the Heisman, I imagine that he will. Like, if he has this monster year and is guaranteed to go number 1 overall, I imagine that he probably does declare. We'll see, though. As of right now, the number 1 quarterback and the number 1 player overall on the aggregate big board is Cade Klubnik, Clemson. I like that guy. I will admit, compared to a Trevor Lawrence or a Caleb Williams type of prospect, it doesn't, there's not as much oomph there. Like, I don't look at Cade Klubnik and think this guy can do it all. This guy has it all. This guy has every tool in the book. But really, really good quarterback prospect. Really interested to see what he does this year. This is going to be a big year for him. Lenoris Sellers of South Carolina, very interesting. Good amount of talent there. Garrett Nussmeier, this is a guy who really might fade. There have been some things said about him recently, physically and in terms of his play, that you could see a Will Levis-like effect here with Nussmeier. Right now, he's ranked in the top 5. I like him. I like parts of him anyway, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe he ends up falling off a cliff here. Drew Allar, the Josh Allen-ish Penn State quarterback, hasn't put it all together yet. Very physically talented. Very important year coming up for him. Fernando Mendoza, Indiana guy, currently ranked as a first-round pick. And that's your top 5. Those 5 guys currently projected to be first-round picks. Then you've got 1 second-round level prospect right now, Sam Leavitt, Arizona State. We know a little bit about him because he plays on a team that, well, I guess there isn't really a Pac-12 anymore, but I'm familiar with guys like Sam Leavitt a little bit because I watched their team. John Mateer, transferred from Wazoo to Oklahoma this season. Really, really talented. Kind of makes you think of Josh Allen again. Like that to me was like the thing that jumped out to me when I was watching him. And that's your day two. So really only 2 guys. We have 1 second rounder and 1 third rounder right now. Aiden Childs is going to be right around the 3rd round. Maybe he gets up there, but 102 could go one way or the other. Depends on how many comp picks there are. Nico, very, very fun. Obviously, there are some issues with him right now, but Nico, Hawksnest likes Randall Cunningham as a comp there, and I see it. I see it big time. Really, really unique talent. He's currently a 4th rounder on the big board. I think he moves up unless he gets in trouble off the field again and starts doing stuff that make people get the Shadur warning flags to pop up. Miller Moss, transferred out of USC, kind of interesting. Carson Beck, we've been talking about him for a while. It's a nice quarterback class, and obviously now we're getting down to the point where we have a lot of guys that are almost definitely not going to be anything, but all the way down to round 4, maybe even round 5, there's some intriguing stuff here, and I think this is going to be a good quarterback class. Next up, we have running back. And this is another position I think the Seahawks might be in on. Maybe not in the 1st round because 1st round running backs are not something that happen all that frequently anymore anyway. And I think the Seahawks might be in a place where they're not trying to get the blue chip running back. They're trying to get good running backs. They don't feel the need to get the blue chipper. But K9 contract year this year. Charbonnet will be entering his contract year next year. And I don't know if Charbonnet's a fullback. A full bell cow running back. I'm sorry, I said a fullback. Of course, he's not a fullback, but he might also not be a full load back, is what I meant to say. I don't know if you want that guy as your 22, 24 carry a game type player. And in a Kubiak system, I don't think that's really what you want. I don't think a guy like that is going to get it done if Kubiak is your coordinator. I could definitely see this team spending a good pick on a running back. And it's not super strong in that day 2 region. We have 1 guy currently projected as a top 32 pick, a 1st round pick, Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame. We've been following him for a while, and he's certainly very good. But then you've got some 2nd round guys. The 2 Penn State guys are currently ranked as 2nd rounders, Singleton and Katrin Allen. You've got Mekhi Hughes of Oregon, Trevion Wisner from Texas. Texas has a running back around this part of the draft every year, it feels like. Justice Haynes, Le'Veon Moss. That kind of rounds out your round 3. And then you get down to day 3. You've got another Texas guy. You've got an Alabama guy, Jaden Ott. Here's Jonah Coleman. Huskies fans. That guy has something. I don't think he'll be a great NFL running back, but he could be a good one. And it's pretty good. It's not great, but we've seen some very dry running back classes in recent years. I think this one's going to be a little bit better. It's not a bad year to need a running back, and I think next year's draft we will need a running back. Wide receiver, I could see us needing a wide receiver as well. The only for sure long-term piece in this receiver core is JSN, and I think we are getting there with Horton, but we got to see it in a regular season game a few times first. Cooper Kupp, 3-year deal, but that could easily end up not working out. And if we move on, then we're going to need another, probably maybe not blue chip receiver, but we're going to need another good receiver. We're going to need somebody who brings a lot of, who can bring that starting potential energy to the table here. Somebody who can at least be in the top 3 of a wide receiver room. And then you've got MVS, who is on a 1-year deal. Very good chance he's not here next year. He may not even be here this year at this point. I think this team could use a top pick on a receiver in 2026. And we do have a good collection of guys. We don't have Marvin Harrison Jr. We don't even really have a Malik Neighbors. I don't even know if we have a Tet McMillan. But we've got some guys who are close to blue chip status. Jordan Tyson, Antonio Williams, Jacoby Lane, USC guy, and Carnell Tate. Spent a lot of time watching him last year because of Ohio State. Certainly at the very least aware of what he can do, even if he wasn't the star of the show at Ohio State. Those are your first rounders at the moment. We all know about Denzel Boston if we're Huskies fans, and I certainly am. That is going to carry a certain amount of appeal as well. But I'm looking at these players, and I got to admit, a lot of these guys intrigue me. Like, you get down to the 3rd round, Nick Harbor. Look that guy up, by the way. Nick Harbor of South Carolina, playing with a very good quarterback this year. Physical freak. I don't think that guy's going to be there in the 3rd round when we get to the draft, but that guy could be the next DK Metcalf. That guy could be the physical freak that gets overlooked a little bit and ends up turning into a really good NFL player. And the fact that he is currently ranked, what is he, not even top 10 among receivers in this class by the aggregate, that tells you that this class is pretty stacked. And you got your typical Texas wide receiver here, DeAndre Moore. They produce one of those guys every year at least, it feels like, sometimes 2. Evan Stewart, I think he got hurt. So his stock is obviously going to be hurt, but he's a talented receiver. And Deion Burks, I talked about him a lot last year. He's down here in the 5th round. So I like this receiver group. I think that there is something here for us. And I would not be surprised if we end up spending a blue chip pick to get one of these guys in here. By which I mean a 1st round pick, really. Obviously, I only expect us to have one, but if we use it on a receiver, I'm not going to be surprised, and I'm not going to be particularly upset by it, I don't think, because I like this crew. Tight end, this is the one position I don't think the Seahawks are going to get involved in early, and probably not even until late. AJ Barner next year will still be on his rookie deal, and Elijah Arroyo, you just drafted him. You do not need to spend a valuable pick on another tight end. And by the way, this is a very good year to not need to spend a pick on a tight end, because this tight end class reminds me of 2022. It's not good. Right now, there is nobody who is even in real contention to go in the 1st round. We have nobody in the top 50 on the aggregate. None of these names really stand out to me except Oscar Delp, and he doesn't really stand out to me for being good. He's just somebody that I've had my eye on for a while here. Gillenborg is an interesting day 3 guy. Jack Velling, same. RJ Maryland is kind of fun. But there's nothing even remotely close to blue chip here. Sadiq at Oregon is currently the top guy. And It's a good year to not really need a tight end. Maybe we need a 3 tight end, or excuse me, a third tight end, I guess would be the right way to say that. But there's not a lot at the top here to my knowledge. I don't think there's a lot here to get excited about. You got the Ohio State guy, Max Clare, got Missouri, Brett Nordfleet. I'll keep an eye on these guys, but this is not a position I plan on talking about very much this year because it would not make a lot of sense to draft one. Arroyo would have to be a catastrophic disaster this year for us to even look at this. Tackle. We got a nice crew here. This is a good tackle class. Obviously, some of these guys are going to move inside in the pros, but take a look at all the guys that are currently considered top 32 by the aggregate. Francis Moigoa, who does have a relative that was drafted out of Miami this last year, or maybe he was a UDFA. I think he did get drafted, though. This guy will get drafted much higher, currently considered a top 5 pick. Hayden Proctor, Alabama offensive lineman. He's the star of the show this year for them. He's going to be a top 10 pick if he has a good year. Got a couple of Utah guys, both these guys getting a lot of hype. We got an Oregon guy. We got a Florida. It is 6 deep with the first round grades. That's exciting for a team that will probably be pretty good this year in the Seahawks, but could need a tackle because Abe Lucas contract year, and I'm not really worried about Cross. I think he'll be good. I think he'll get extended next year at this rate. Maybe he'll get extended during this upcoming season. But I do think we're going to need that right tackle unless we re-sign Lucas. And re-signing Lucas is going to be a gamble all on its own. And again, I want to stress, we could draft one of these guys and move them inside potentially too. Some of these guys are going to project inside. So therefore, even if you think Cross and Lucas are the long-term future, these are still guys worth looking at. And we got 1 second-round guy right now, but look at all the guys in the third round. Drew Shelton, Wagner, 2 Clemson guys. Got Trezun. Notre Dame has 1. Wake Forest has 1. The Famo guy. It's a really strong crop of mid-level offensive tackle prospects. And finally, we have the interior offensive line. This is also pretty good, especially when you include the fact that some of the tackles are going to slide inside. We don't have anybody currently projected to be a first-round pick, but we do have quite a few guys. It looks like 7 players currently projected as day 2 guys. Parker Brailsford, former Washington Husky, former member of the Ryan Grubb offense, which would be more interesting if Grubb had worked out, I guess, but still going to be very interesting at center there. Very possible the Seahawks go into next year's draft thinking we need to lock down center and we need to lock down right guard. And if we do that, we are golden. And I wouldn't expect these top guys to necessarily be the answer at right guard necessarily. So while obviously there are going to be some guys and we're going to have to find them, maybe we find them in day 3. There are some interesting names there as well. DJ Campbell, I think he's a bigger guy. I think he's more of a right guard, but Parker Brailsford and Jake Slaughter, I think, are the most compelling names right now because Slaughter is a center, or at least he played center last year. And I feel like that's something that needs some attention on this offensive line if that's the way we go. So there's not really anything you can do in the first round here. You wouldn't expect it. Most years, there isn't a lot of action on interior linemen in the first round, unless they're tackle converts. The pure guards, the pure centers, they almost always get pushed down. Especially, I mean, when was the last time we had a center go in the top 10 of the draft? It's been a very long time. Maybe some guys got drafted as a tackle and moved to center. You almost never see a pure center get drafted super high. And that's the quick rundown of the offense. So let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to give a bird's eye view of what we're going to be watching. To me, the only positions that we as Seahawks fans on the offense should not be paying attention to would probably be tight end. And to a certain extent, you can kind of deprioritize tackle. But at the same time, you can't because these guys might be able to play inside. And also, we have no idea what we're going to get out of Lucas this year. So even that is like, we got to think about right tackle potentially. Okay. So give me your thoughts down below. This is something we're going to be following all year. And I'm going to be doing plenty of coverage of this. Keep an eye out. Go Hawks. Thank you for watching. I'll talk about the defense in a future video. But for now, that's it.